Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So the topic, hope you all seeing on the screen. So beyond degrees, fostering 21st century skills and impact of AI. You all already know what is already impact we are facing due to AI and how the younger generation in future has to take care of themselves. In this context of rapidly changing global landscape, driven by technology, 21st century skills and artificial intelligence are critical for individuals. I would like to take the context from each of the panelist member here. Being in innovation and startup community, charter member at IIT TIE Bangalore, consultant with Bangalore BioInnovation Center, I would request Vijetha Shastry sir on what's your view on educational institutions focus on 21st century skills like creativity and critical thinking while preparing students for AI-driven industry. Over to you, sir.
Sure, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure and honor to be in this really august audience, and considering it's a Sunday and there's rain outside, despite all that, people have come here, so I think we really need to thank the excellent audience and participants here. And I'm looking forward to this conversation with my esteemed panelists as well. So keeping it very focused. See, what is happening now is that it has come as a kind of in the last 6 months or 1 year because of the sudden chat GPT phenomena. Everyone is talking about it. But actually this evolution has been happening for the last couple of years. It started with industrial AI actually. So you have a lot of digital twins. You have a lot of activities going on and people, in the interviews, like saying, how can we use AI to, detect fraud in resumes? Unfortunately, we have a reputation. And that obviously comes to the fact that you need to get the best colleges to involved in this. And the colleges also have understood that unless we up our game, unless we bring in cutting-edge skills, and if we are not known as a school or education institute that has the AI component as being very strong, with very good industry connect, we will not be able to get the best students, we will not be able to get placements, and we will not be able to attract the best companies to come to us. So the game has happened in such a way and with so much of powerful impact actually, that there's a lot of focus on suddenly, this has happened in the last 6 months, 1 year, last 3-4 semesters, AI is being incorporated into learning. So that's machine learning, it's about AI, data science, and also ability to solve big cutting edge problems for enterprise level and also for government. Like unfortunately, India has its challenges. We read about pollution, we read about the air not being good, we read about agricultural impact, etc., etc. So the way AI will handle data for us, the way it will actually bring out solutions that can be implemented at scale with factual data, that's going to be the difference. And all education institutes, and I'm sure all of them who are here are working on it. But if you bring that element where the students, academia and industry come together, because it can't be done alone. There's so much because I'm involved in a few projects and I'm also learning, but it's a very, very exciting time. It's a challenging time. If we don't do it well, we're in trouble. As simple as that, okay? So I want to keep it as crisp and short, of course, for the rest of the panelists to interject if required. Thank you.
Sure. So what's your view on this, Aaditya, Uthappa sir?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening to fellow panelists. It's an honor to be here. So, just to add to what Vijetha sir had to say, in the last 1 year, there's been tremendous adoption of AI, right? ChatGPT changed everything. The adoption of ChatGPT in the last 1 year just tremendously, beaten adoption of computers. I think computers took almost 14 years to be adopted across industries. ChatGPT, it's quick, right? Quick because I hear my aunt, I hear someone who's as old as my grandparent asking me questions on how can they use it. The other day on a flight, I saw somebody using it to draft an email to their society to request for something. So adoption is there. But why is it so important for educational institutions? For many reasons. I think one is, as educators, educational skill prepares individuals for society. It prepares you to take on jobs. It builds skills, right? All of those, the responsibility of burden of that is on educators like yourselves, and I thank you for everything that you do. right? India, traditionally, from a technology standpoint, has moved the needle, but it's also been a very large global capacity center, wherein you have millions of people who work for global brands from India. And India, Infosys, of course, started this in the 90s, and there have been numerous thousands of companies that have had immense impact. What AI is going to do is the cost advantage that India, Philippines has enjoyed for years is going to be taken away or wiped away by advanced societies utilizing AI to make them more efficient. Right? As an innovator, as an operator, when I look at my company, even a 5% efficiency gain is, it hits the profit line. It's very advantageous. If, as societies, educational institutions do not adopt the change, drive it, right, using industry, then it's going to start impacting jobs back home as well. I'm going to keep it short. With that note, I'll let Chella sir, weigh in on his thoughts.
Okay, so before I start, my name is Chella Pandian Pitchai. Often I'm asked a question, do I know Sundar Pichai? So I'm sure some of you are thinking, so let me clarify. Yes, I know him very well, but he doesn't know me. I have sent him a LinkedIn invite. He's not accepted yet. But he's a great leader. So building on what Vijetha and Aaditya said, AI is here to stay, right? I don't know why we get worried about that. Actually, yesterday I saw a note saying fly AI, which is the aviation industry has come up with something. The near-miss accidents they want to avoid through AI because it can predict well, it can direct you well, it can navigate you well. So it's a life-saving tool which human being could make error. And you know how many near-miss accidents in the sky? There is a huge number, but we don't know because if we land safely, we think everything is safe, but it is not. So this is going to save life. In our industry, pharma industry, and innovation industry, AI is going to speed the innovation. It's going to probably bring the drugs much faster than, otherwise it takes about 15 years for the pill which we pop. It takes about 15 years. The AI could bring it down to 10 years, or even 1 year saved is a huge saving. In education industry, AI can be of great help. So why we not adopt it? That's why I say 3 A's: adopt, adapt, and abort. Adopting is new technology. Adapt is go with the flow of the technology. Abort is we have to undo the unconventional or the conventional mindset that we still want to stick to the conventional education system. I'm not sure how fast educators have adopted, and unless we adopt AI is not going to do a great job. Recently, I had a alpha generation on the panel because I'm breaking the myth of to sit here, you need to be 20 years experience, 25 years experience. I call school students in one of the conference, not in a school function. I had Gen Alpha and Gen Z in the panel. They did an amazing job. I'll tell you, I felt like I need to develop myself, I need to upskill myself because they were absolutely rocking on the stage, no inhibition. And this Alpha generation, please watch on them. Not even Gen Z, I'm going to Alpha. They're absolutely stunning. Now the question is, we spoke the same topic, AI. And one of the school student was talking about how do you make maths more gamified? He says, I'm bugged, I don't want to sit in the class. Right? A lot of teachers were there and he said, I'm not able to grasp. Can you gamify? I think there are a lot of ways to make education gamified using artificial intelligence to predict, and a lot of things can be done. So lastly, I want to leave you with one thought before I take my next turn. AI we have learned, but I'll tell you OI is very important. If you've not heard of OI, it's okay because it's my terminology. OI is original intelligence. Just AI alone is not going to help because there is a huge mental health issues are coming for Alpha generation and Gen Z. The research says 95% of Gen Zs are having the anxiety problem because of technology. Technology has created a lot more problems to this generation than what some of us went through. So I think we need to talk about beyond degrees in various other aspects. And I would call AI as attitude intelligence because that is going to really make a difference. Otherwise, artificial intelligence by itself will only cause more problems. But I'll touch upon that later.
Beautiful insights. I would like to ask you more regarding Aditya. So you're coming from a cybersecurity end. So what do you think, what is required from an academic point of view?
Quick, because I hear my aunt, I hear someone who's as old as my grandparent asking me questions on how can they use it. The other day on a flight, I saw somebody using it to draft an email to their society to request for something. So adoption is there. But why is it so important for educational institutions? For many reasons. I think one is, as educators, educational skill prepares individuals for society. It prepares you to take on jobs. It builds skills, right? All of those, the responsibility of burden of that is on educators like yourselves, and I thank you for everything that you do, right? India, traditionally, from a technology standpoint, has moved the needle, but it's also been a very large global capacity center, wherein you have millions of people who work for global brands from India. And India, Infosys, of course, started this in the 90s. And there have been numerous thousands of companies that have had immense impact. What AI is going to do is the cost advantage that India, Philippines has enjoyed for years is going to be taken away or wiped away by advanced societies utilizing AI to make them more efficient. Right? As an innovator, as an operator, when I look at my company, even a 5% efficiency gain is, it hits the profit line. It's very advantageous. If, as societies, educational institutions do not adopt the change, drive it, right, using industry, then it's going to start impacting jobs back home as well. I'm going to keep it short. With that note, I'll let Chella sir, weigh in on his thoughts.
Okay, so before I start, my name is Chella Pitchai. Often I'm asked a question, do I know Sundar Pichai? So I'm sure some of you are thinking, so let me clarify. Yes, I know him very well, but he doesn't know me. I have sent him a LinkedIn invite. He's not accepted yet. But he's a great leader. So building on what Vijetha and Aaditya said, AI is here to stay, right? I don't know why we get worried about that. Actually, yesterday I saw a note saying fly AI, which is the aviation industry has come up with something. The near-miss accidents they want to avoid through AI because it can predict well, it can direct you well, it can navigate you well. So it's a life-saving tool, which human being could make error. And you know how many near-miss accidents in the sky? There is a huge number, but we don't know because if we land safely, we think everything is safe, but it is not. So this is going to save life. In our industry, pharma industry, and innovation industry, AI is going to speed the innovation. It's going to probably bring the drugs much faster than, otherwise it takes about 15 years for the pill which we pop. It takes about 15 years, the AI could bring it down to 10 years, or even 1 year saved is a huge saving. In education industry, AI can be of great help. So why we not adopt it? That's why I say 3 A's: adopt, adapt, and abort. Adopting is a new technology. Adapt is go with the flow of the technology. Abort is we have to undo the unconventional or the conventional mindset that we still want to stick to the conventional education system. I'm not sure how fast educators have adopted. And unless we adopt AI, is not going to do a great job. Recently, I had an alpha generation on the panel. Because I'm breaking the myth of, to sit here, you need to be 20 years experience, 25 years experience. I called school students in one of the conference, not in a school function. I had Gen Alpha and Gen Z in the panel. They did an amazing job. I'll tell you, I felt like I need to develop myself, I need to upskill myself because they were absolutely rocking on the stage, no inhibition. And this alpha generation, please watch on them. Not even Gen Z, I'm going to alpha. They're absolutely stunning. Now the question is, we spoke the same topic, AI. And one of the school student was talking about how do you make maths more gamified. He says, I'm bugged. I don't want to sit in the class. Right? A lot of teachers were there, and he said, I'm not able to grasp. Can you gamify? I think there are a lot of ways to make education gamified using artificial intelligence to predict, and a lot of things can be done. So lastly, I want to leave you with one thought before I take my next turn. AI we have learned, but I'll tell you OI is very important. If you've not heard of OI, it's okay because it's my terminology. OI is original intelligence. Just AI alone is not going to help because there is a huge mental health issues are coming for alpha generation and Gen Z. The research says 95% of Gen Zs are having the anxiety problem because of technology. Technology has created a lot more problems to this generation than what some of us went through. So I think we need to talk about beyond degrees in various other aspects. And I would call AI as attitude intelligence because that is going to really make a difference. Otherwise, artificial intelligence by itself will only cause more problems. But I'll touch upon that later.
Beautiful insights. I would like to ask you more regarding Aditya. So you're coming from a cybersecurity end. So what do you think, what is required from an academic point of view? What is the right workforce would need in terms of, let's say, how industries can play a role to ensure that students develop both AI-related competencies as well as soft skills?
That's a great question. So every year we have an intake of a couple of dozen individuals from colleges straight into the organization. We spend 6 months training them. It takes another 6 months of shadow to get them ready to go in industry like cybersecurity. I don't have to tell you the need of the hour in cybersecurity. There are 10 million jobs available. The time required to ramp them up, right, does not allow us to keep up with attackers today. So with that thought, the industry has to be the trailblazer in adoption of AI among educational institutions. And how do we do that? I think first is, and I'm pardon me being straightforward, I think collaboration has to be less than a photo op. When you work with an organization, with a college, take smaller batches, start working with them, and us as organizations and corporates need to get off the high horse and be like, we have no problems in the organization. Whereas, unstructured data, how algorithms are written, how things are parsed, are big issues. These are problem statements that we can give to students. Like Chella was saying, the Gen Alpha, the Gen Z students are very smart. I'll take an example of something that happened at work last week. We had a cybersecurity day, and I had folks who joined us 8 months ago talk about passwordless authentication, quantum cryptography, things that are still brewing. But these folks did the research, wrote up a paper, presented about it. They're really smart, right? I think as corporates, if we take the problem statement, break it down, work with smaller teams, assign somebody to work on that, we can actually give real-world problem statements to students to work on. That way, a couple of things happen. I think they learn how to use AI. They have somebody to guide them. We as corporates have a direct incentive to work with these colleges, right? It's not selfless, right? It's more selfish, which helps the profit line for all of us. And that's why there's more incentive in us working with these institutions, right? And monitoring it closely, right? Looking at what's happening. But the last thing that I'm going to leave it with before I get the other panelists on is train the trainer, right? I think it's very important for corporates to take the leap and help educate the educators on how they can drive some of this, right? So they need to take a first step, bring them into a workshop or a class or do it in the college, tell them, hey, this is how you're supposed to use GPT 4.0, this is what you can do, these are the type of projects that you can give, this is how you could monitor, right? That way they feel comfortable in order to roll it out to the students, and the students then can work with us directly, and it's a win-win, right? So I think corporates really have to take the first step in moving the needle here.
So Vijetha sir, you coming from innovation side, so what do you feel what competencies the students or the young generation would need to upskill themselves so that the industries can help them to upskill those areas so that it will be suitable for you in your innovations.
Definitely. So there are two aspects we should understand, that the top 20% of the students will find their way.
Cream
They
layer.
do not need help.
Yeah.
And they will be chosen and selected by the top 30, 40 companies. It is the rest of the 80%, and I'm giving the Indian context only now because we are sitting in India.
Yeah.
That's where the real challenge is, because they need help. That's number one. Number two, don't forget, it's not just about the students who are going to pass out in the next 2-3 years. We have to also look at the students, the alum networks, who have passed out, say, a few years back, and they are also struggling.
Yeah.
There is also a generation of people in their 40s, 50s, who are very capable, but they have not upskilled themselves, either because they couldn't do it or their organizations could not pay attention. So this is actually a business opportunity for academia. Okay, and what they should do, and I think that there's I can also help some of these people, is to connect with some of the industry folks, because the cost of this training is very, very high. NVIDIA, the GPUs you need all the, you need a lot of technology, you need a lot of processing power, you need trainers who are willing to come and do it. People who understand data science, machine learning, they will be able to teach. So there's actually opportunity, and I'll focus on that, right? So now there are many industries, see, because I'm also coming from research. I worked with NASCOM, I worked with TAI. I'm also part of many other companies where they're really, really having a lot of projects. And they're hungry to even take in people, train them, get them certified, and make sure that they stay with them, because that's going to be the biggest challenge. Because suddenly from 0 to 1, they move to 1 to 3, and their their capabilities and the cost at which they can be hired suddenly goes up. But the people who have got them in, what do you do for them? How do you make sure that they don't lose out? So there are some very tricky legal situations also here. But and also I would like to emphasize that there is a lot of activities that the government is doing to help. We should become very good collaborators with them. And there are a lot of well-funded startups, SMEs, and traditional companies who may not necessarily be the GCCs of the world, right? What we call as the global capability centers. They will hire, they'll pay, whatever kind of money. But there are other people who are willing to hire and pay reasonably good salaries. Tie-ups with them, because though it may not be as glamorous, is where the potential is. So keeping in mind that you have companies who are looking to hire by upskilling, you have students of the next 1-2 years, plus those who are passed out, and also the people in their 40s, 50s who need upskilling. So this is the business opportunity, this is the potential, and we can do great things. If we don't, again, I will come back to what I said in the first statement, that we will be in serious trouble, because it will be a social impact that will be terrible, because no jobs, no money, people will struggle, and we have our own set of population issues, etc., etc. So just keeping that, there's a potential, but there's also a very dark downside. We should not spiral down into it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Pitchai, sir, from your point of view, how does industries, what's your take on how industries should look at the young students? Also, how do they have to manage the existing people on board who may lack some of the artificial intelligence competencies, but the young lads may be quicker enough to grab the opportunities and learn? And is there also need of an hour to unlearn some things which they are currently doing?
I think artificial intelligence is a tool, right? It's a technology enabling tool. We don't need to be subject matter expert unless you're a programmer or look at generally in corporate, about if there are 100 people, 90 people, if they're not in this, in the business of creating artificial intelligence solution, then it's a different game. But I'm saying generally like our company, right? 90% need to know how to use the tool.
Okay.
Right? So you don't have to be a subject matter expert in knowing how the tool was designed. It's about how do I use, like a phone. If I know new features are there, if I'm able to use the feature and take the best of each of the features, then I think I'm good. So everybody is learning at the same time. No one can say, I know it because I've been doing this for years, because this has just come in, right?
Yeah.
So probably the last 10 years, 8 years. So everybody is learning at the same time. All generations are learning at the same time. I don't see a problem in adopting this for people who are already have adopted so many new things in life, right? So we are all seeing a change. Nothing is stagnant and permanent. We are all going through this change. So I don't think corporate will have a problem in adopting. Of course, individuals will have problem, but as overall, it should not be a problem. Students have an early advantage because they are learning at the early stage. So I think it's not about learning the tool. It's about understanding the generation is where the problem is. Because technology is creating a difference in the way people think. So the leaders and managers who are sitting in corporate are still have different ways of leadership. So today's generation, you need to be really different, for which we need to undo and relearn. And unlearn and relearn. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem in managing, because we can't go and tell this parent also. I think we need to do a lot of coaching for parents on how do you parent a Gen Z and Gen Alpha versus how you were parenting in the past, because there is huge issues. I'm an anxiety coach. I've been counseling lots of students. If you see my LinkedIn, most of the time I'm with students. And biggest problem, just now I was counseling somebody, she says, I want to commit suicide. You know how many, I used to be in an anti-suicide squad in Malaysia, certified by the government. In India, I've not taken it, but I do my bit to whatever extent I could do. A lot of these problems are coming from anxiety because the parents are not knowing how to deal with kids, and kids don't know how to deal with parents. There's a huge generation gap. It's because of technology. So mental health is getting affected is what I see. So if you're looking at any emerging skills or beyond degrees, I think from college days until home and then office, we should also look at, as the technology is going to come and do the magic, how are we going to cope up with the technology? Because this can do a magic. AI is going to do magic after magic after magic. But are we ready to adopt and adapt and abort?
Do you believe this process of change has to be like we were discussing earlier? Should we look for a shortcut, like a short solution, or a long-term solution? Go slow, go a bit more concrete solution, gel together.
I'll tell you, it's an unfair world and uneven world, right? Financial status, family status, education status, it's all uneven. In previous generation, say Gen X and probably before that, Gen Y was cusp. We did not know what, for example, Aaditya and me were classmates. I wouldn't know what Aaditya is doing on a weekend unless I ask him. Yeah. When he comes back to Monday to school, college or office, hey, what were you doing? And Aaditya will say, I went out for a dinner, or I went out to Goa and came. Then you hear, only it's between two of us, and maybe some of you wouldn't even know. Today, what others are doing is all in Insta stories, right? Yes. There is a huge peer pressure for kids. Right? Why am I not going and doing this? Why am I not doing this? Why? Everybody's stories are open. So that puts a lot of pressure. So hence I see there will be a problem. There is no shortcut for this. Only about we have to counsel ourselves and again adopt, adapt, abort.
Sure, sir, true. So I have a next question, which relates to rather than going from a traditional approach, like we have some subjects in our colleges, graduation, post-graduation, going above the traditional subjects, how we can introduce AI without deviating much from the traditional aspect, but also incorporate AI as a part of a curriculum and slowly and progressively help our kids, our young minds to learn this. So what's your take, sir, Aditya, sir, on this?
So in terms of adoption, right, and I'll take it in two parts. I think there's K to 12 education. I think for them, it's having age-wise AI awareness, both on privacy, security, and how to use it. And there are multiple ways. I know my sister's son, he's in the 8th grade. He uses it for his math tuition all the time, right? I see him doing it all the time. But about how, he's also figured out a way how to use it as a coach, right? So there are innovative ways how these kids are figuring it out. But I think for colleges, couple of things, right? You can, of course, take your regular curriculum. You can have AI classes run or courses run on how to use AI, how to use the latest and greatest in GPT or any of the LLMs that are out there. Like Sir said, you don't have to be an expert on AI and ML to use any of these utilities. You need to figure out what's the use case for you. Right? If you're a telecom engineer and you're trying to subtract 5 seconds, I'm a telecom engineer, I'm going to butcher this problem statement, but if you're to subtract 5 seconds on a particular communication, how can you do so, right? And that's a real world problem, right? But then in that problem statement, you can work with somebody who on the computer science side, you can work with someone who's a network engineer, you can work with someone who's a telecom engineer, all of them coming together. interdisciplinary projects, right? And then presenting it to various folks, right? So finding out those use cases is important, but then first teaching them how to use various AI tools, because the AI tools that are there, the commercial tools are great. There's no need to become an AI ML expert to build your own LLM. You can build your own GPT using, a simple GPT 4.0 today, and that's what one has to do.
So, Vijetha sir, what do you think from the innovation perspective?
Sure.
So, from traditional way of teaching students, then how introducing the AI rather than traditional approach, but going through this 21st century skill set. So, how do you can mix together and help the
Definitely, I
students, the
understand,
young minds, to make it more interesting?
Sure. So we'll combine this, right? One is we talk about opportunity, and then we're also talking about how to make the education focus more interesting. Because as he said, everyone is using ChatGPT and whatever, so many other tools are there, Meta AI's tools are there. So this is something for the teachers, students, and for the educational institute to decide on policy. So which are the sectors that are really growing, right? And also remember, because government regulation has helped us. The fintech industry, where we are the champions, UPI, etc., etc. Regulations helped, and then adoption happened, innovation happened, AI was brought in, and of course the problems came up because of cybersecurity. Now there's a lot of solutions also coming because of that. So I would suggest and request, because I see this happening in many places, look at robotics, look at gaming, and also look at the entertainment slash content marketing, whatever that kind of industries. Use those elements for teaching also. Because today entertainment is very important. Attention spans at zero almost. So how do you use the very savvy digital native students who are there? How do you keep them engrossed? How do you keep them engaged? Give them projects, because you also want to make them ready for the next generation of jobs, right? So while you have robotics, you have games, you have the gaming industry. Here when I'm saying gaming is creating content. People are doing phenomenal movies. That OTT has come. So this is where the money is. This is where the new jobs will come. And also this is a phenomenal way for teaching students the right things. And also the ethics will play a big role in this. Unfortunately, there is a lot of gray areas. You'll have been hearing how some very sadly sharp minds are getting into hacking. They're getting into utilizing digital arrest, and they're so innovative, right? They will call you up. Their voice recognition is there, where everyone sounds like someone's parent, child, best friend, whatever, right? So bad things are also happening. So teaching ethics, while also giving this kind of education, giving them opportunity, and training them in the new technology, so that we need jobs. Let's be very clear. We are not a degrowing country. We need to create lots of jobs. Otherwise, there will be challenges later on. So I just thought these few things could be of value to the educational committee out here. Thank you.
Yeah, so over to Pitchai sir.
Yeah, as I said, we can't escape technology advancement. AI and many more new things will come. And we will be left out with no choice to adopt, and abort. So we will not, we can't be staying behind. If you refuse, then you will be left behind. So, but beyond that, I would say education institutes or even an organization, even parents, we should focus on certain skill which will become even more important as the technology is coming into play. Like I think Vijetha was touching upon the ethics, integrity, bringing back students or the young minds into believing on value system. I think that would become very important. Even in college, I'm not sure how many universities have, I'm sure you have your own values in the website, but can that be an integral part of everyday teaching? How often you recall your values? How often I go to a lot of colleges, not even one teacher or a professor have said, welcome to our college, you're going for a guest lecture. These are all our values. Please remember and reflect that when you teach. No one has ever said, right? So, but the university has values. So how often teachers, when they talk to the students on a daily basis, when you teach students, how do you bring your values and reinforce values into the minds of, at least your university values, right? Each family has their own values. How often we talk about values, not only conditioning, it's about values, right? Second, if ethics and integrity is part of your value, it's very important, like cyber security you were touching upon. These are the things which is going to make a huge problem or hurdles for that technology advancement. And again, I go back to this AI as attitude intelligence, right? If my attitude is not good, even with technology, I'll use it in the probably the bad way.
Agreed.
Technology can be used in both ways, right? So it's my attitude which determines. And lastly, I don't know how many colleges have gone ChatGPT free. I know for sure 2-3 colleges, I don't want to name. But if it is not, go for it. No, anyways, they're going to use it. Why are we policing students to say, this is not yours, you cut, copy, paste it from ChatGPT? Anyway, they're using it. So slowly, the thinking capacity is coming down because you're outsourcing your thinking. Yeah. Now, it is not about what you know. It's about what do you do with what you know. That will become a major difference. You can make a CV with artificial intelligence. You can get your projects done through artificial intelligence or ChatGPT. But when you come for interview, like 3 of us, right? We could have prepared through ChatGPT, did some homework and come, but you have to execute on the stage. I'm not going to read it, right? When you come for interviews, when we see a huge difference between marks, project, and the quality of conversation. People struggle. So it clearly says that you're leveraging the technology, but you're put on the spot, you're not able to deliver. So I think that is where it is going to make a difference. So attitude intelligence has to go along with artificial intelligence. Then I think academicians, corporate, parents will be very successful.
Great, sir. Good. So I have something interesting to ask you now. So when we are talking about 21st century skills, it's not just about AI. So entrepreneurship is one thing which I believe that the young generation is coming up today, taking over all these kind of aspects. So how do you think, what are the programs which maybe you would have done or the future programs which can help to build AI as well as entrepreneurship together? So which is most required for this 21st century? So what's your view? I mean, from each one of you, I would love to hear.
Yeah, sure. What I would like to emphasize on this is that for students who are coming from a business family, it's much easier because they will be working with their parents, they'll be learning the ropes of what? Sales, marketing, operations, hiring, handling problems, customer deliveries, and that kind of stuff, accounting, etc. Right? So for them, it's a different game. There, because hopefully they will learn the game, they will learn how to do business, they will build relationship with their workers, with their senior leaders and the customers, so they have a much easier path. Why am I talking about that is, but that is just 10% maybe. Correct. The rest of the 90% first learn business. Okay, because if you don't understand how to do hiring, if you don't understand contracts, you don't understand the legal and financial aspects, your GST, etc., you will not be able to succeed as an entrepreneur, and there is no shortcut. There are many entrepreneurs I know who started very early and they said like, this is the gap. We failed in learning the basics and that's why we struggled in the first few years and then we had to learn. We either got professional help or we did so many mistakes and got into so much of trouble that we sat down, understood it and we learned the business. Like we learned how to do, like go out there, talk to people, present ourselves better, ethics, not making legal mistakes. So I just want to caution people because I'm part of TIE, NASCOM, and I've worked with so many entrepreneurs. I'm a mentor for entrepreneurs. And I tell the early stage folks that if you don't understand nuances of business, you will not succeed because you will be smart. There's no question. You understand tech, you understand product, you understand how things can be done. But you will make mistakes on the other side, corporate governance, due diligence, etc. And this cannot be ignored because they are actually equally important.
So those would be the gaps.
Yes, these would be the gaps. So just learn this. Get yourself trained, certified, etc., etc. Then you know, and then you don't need anyone. You will manage your own. You will become a mentor, and you will be very, very successful. But learn the ropes of business as early as you can. You have to keep your ego down. You have to put in a lot of effort during weekends, etc. Maybe, but do it because it will hold you in good stead later on in life. Thank you.
So Aditya sir, any programs which you may have done previously or you have plans in future, which can help to develop these skills which are required for 21st century, which is AI, entrepreneurship, machine learning, these kind of new stuffs. So any views on this side?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a very pertinent question because AI is everywhere, right? How do you use it? Nobody knows. It's like giving a child a Ferrari and being like, hey, how about driving it on the street? Right? It's a very, very powerful tool. So there are a couple of ways that one can do it. Of course, the government is running various initiatives. In India, you have AI for All, run by the Indian government. There's another 3-month program that Google has for startups and accelerators. There's global youth AI programs. There are various organizations doing this. There's no dearth of these kind of opportunities. But as you know, coming from the corporate side and operators, what we can do, and I touched upon it earlier as well, is give very nuanced use cases to students who can then become entrepreneurs at our companies. Or if there's an incubator cell at these colleges, we can give them these problem statements. And I'm going to give you an example. About 3-4 months ago, I asked somebody in the dev team, I'm like, here's unstructured data, 200,000 people, figure it out how we can structure this very, very quickly, right, and make sense out of it. His entire solution after a couple of days was, Aditya, this is too complicated, it's very unstructured, I can't figure it out, I don't have the bandwidth, right? Here comes a college intern, Gen Alpha, very smart as a whip, right? He came in, we gave him the problem statement. Now, the advantage was, he had 40 hours of dedicated work that he was putting into this. He had access to the latest and greatest in AI. The guy figured it out, right? He was able to take this 200,000 data set and collapse it down to 10,000 data entries of structured data, which was very, very helpful. As operators, we all know what are the use cases and inefficiencies in our company, right? Some of us don't want to accept it, but if we don't accept it, we're not going to see change. We're not going to see efficiency, right? It is important that we challenge the status quo. So as organizations, we can list out all of these use cases, which are near and dear to us, go out with any college that we're working with, give them these use cases, right? When these students, as small groups, work on them, we can educate them about AI and how to use the latest in tools. They can run these small projects, come back with an outcome. None of us today are being paid for fact-checking and knowing facts. We're being paid to solve problems, right? This is their first seed into problem statement, which is then going to make them industry ready. Next thing, when they are going in for getting a job, they have projects under the belt where they've problem solved, they've presented to various folks in the organization. And that way, they can then either choose to become entrepreneurs. They could be companies like ourselves, which will be more than happy to fund them, take over their initiative, bring them in, because they're smart minds, right? Anybody ready to challenge status quo is going to hit the bottom line and help us grow, right? So these are some of the initiatives that one can kind of do. And the reason why I say that is, this is something that I've thought about many, many times. In the last 1 year, I've seen the power of focus of someone senior guiding somebody and the power of AI solving problems that I could not solve in the company for years.
Very well said. So what you said is, to sum up, practically give an opportunity to those young minds and give a problem statement. Also, be in a stage to guide them. If they need some expert to guide them, so that you get a solution out of it. Yeah, well said, sir. So Pitchai sir, what's your view on what kind of programs which you would have done previously, or in future you have plans which can help to bring entrepreneurship, AI related, and any 21st century skills to be onboarded to the young minds?
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. My life revolves around that. Okay. Everything and anything I ask, and I've given a name to ChatGPT, it interacts with you beautifully. It's almost like a girlfriend, right? Like it just comes back, tells you, and it appreciates you. It's very beautifully designed. And it answered all my questions except how do I manage my wife? It said,
tough question.
I'm not married. So the point is, one, I'll build on what both of them said, right? So I don't want to add, repeat the same. Yeah. What will not change? Skills which will continue. Whether we go to 21st, 22nd century is where Vijetha is there. Innovation is not going to die. That's what brought us here. That is what will take us there. AI itself is innovation, right? So technology advancement is nothing but innovation. Innovation will continue. Entrepreneurship will continue. That is what brought us here, right? We have an entrepreneur sitting here. So it won't die. These things will continue. In a different business model, different approaches, all those will change, but these skills will continue. What will be required, apart from what they said, they've already covered the technical part of it. Again, I go back to what I started with. We need to have this attitude, skill, and knowledge. Ask principle. I'm sure many of you know. It's not new. Skill, how much of our skill we enhance ourselves, upskill. How much of our knowledge we bring on technology. Attitude can kill all of this. A knowledge cannot be converted to a skill if you don't have an attitude. Right? That's what I spoke in TEDx. Right? It's a combination of this. We think it's a three independent. No. Attitude, without attitude, knowledge will not get converted to skill. That is why some of the best of the students fail in their life. Right? It is not only memorizing and reproducing, right? It's about how do you use that. So you need an attitude. You need an attitude to keep your mental wellness. Why do we have a lot of struggle of late? And I'm not sure how much of you understand. Actually, it's a serious problem. All this technology advancement, if people are not using it, what is the use? It's for us. Right? It is not, we are not for that artificial intelligence or technology. Technology is for us. But if we are not in a good state of mind, we won't use it well, or we won't use it good or for good. So we need to go back to those more and more importance for integrity, ethics, mental wellness, right? And value systems. All of this goes well. We will have a huge investment coming into India. So today I've traveled and I've been in a global role. And I'm sure some of you are sitting here would have been traveled or worked in other countries. There is a huge problem of, apart from few industries, people hesitate to come to India because they are still worried about the integrity part. If we break that, the next generation, that's my ask to the next generation. If we break that, I think we will have more and more investments coming into our country. And today people still worry about, is it okay, is it compliant enough, or is it safe? So those things have to go out. That's why I'm saying integrity and ethics have to become a skill in college or a curriculum in college, or it has to become a subject, if it can be. So by the way, I go and talk about basic things which is very important for humanity, like sexual harassment. In India, 1 in 2 women is being sexually harassed. And if those kind of mindset we have, we will lose 500 million women not actively contributing with technology because they're worried to come out and work. That's why the workforce is less in corporate, right? It's slowly increasing. And what are we going to do about inclusion? Innovation cannot happen without inclusion. You can't keep one gender as a housewives and moms and then go back and say innovate. Yeah. You need all genders to. What about LGBTQ? We need all genders to come together. All generation to come together for innovation. So a lot to do on those areas as the technology is going to come and help us and do the magic.
Well said, sir. To sum up, it's like have a good attitude to reach a great altitude, right? So, and in Kannada there is a saying, Hale beru hosa chiguru, means we need hale berugalu, means we need the great people who experts who guide the students. Also, we need the new budding talent as well. So that is what takes India's further. So I would like to open up the forum for the audience to take some of the questions, few of the questions to panelists. Does anybody have few questions? Yeah. Can we hand over the mic to them, please?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Indumati, Principal of Cambridge Institute of Technology, KR Bangalore. It was a very interesting topic which you have put in. And all the 3 panelists, thank you all for enlightening us about the very, very important human values which has to be integrated into the curriculum. In fact, we have a lot of such things involved, brought into the curriculum, but a lot of things to be changed with the involvement of industry. I would like to say that thousands of students pass out every year. How can industry be involved and contribute to the growth of the students? Because as you said very rightly, that both plays an important role, OI as well as AI. It's very, very important. And all the 3 A's which you have explained are very, very important. And the CEO of Accorian has very rightly told that you have a lot of projects. But how do you address the students? Students are, majority of the students are keen on working with industries and internship. How do you there is a huge number of students passing out. How can industry come in and help the institutions and the universities to have some sort of experience in the industry so that they will understand the work culture at the industry, what is ethics, what is the work culture, and also work on projects. How can you address the huge, large crowd which is coming out, especially in the engineering profession?
Thank you, ma'am. Very good question.
take a part of it. And Vijetha's, I'm not sure, the innovation, do you work with students? I'm
Yeah,
sure,
all the
right?
time,
Yeah.
all the time, boss.
So I've seen colleges. I'm sorry, I'm taking the name because only that much knowledge I have. Maybe all of you might have or may have. I am as a innovation center, right? I am Bangalore, PES college. Few other universities have innovation center. People like Vijetha or a lot of facilitators who come and make innovation happen, bring corporate, and even they made what do you call, unicorns, right? It starts from here, it goes into big organization or a big opportunity for investors to come and invest on. So those are some of the big ways of contributing. But even otherwise, I did a hackathon, 24 hours hackathon, like what Aaditya was talking about. So we did a hackathon in few universities. The 3 universities have already done. 24 hours non-stop hackathon, gave problem statements, taught them design thinking, asked them to come and find a real corporate problems. Right? Then we selected the top 10 and we've taken them to be a part of mentorship program. So we are working with those universities. So there are many ways to, then I have something called Women in STEM, only exclusively for women because of the fact that we need to bring more women into workforce. It's called Women in STEM program, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. I've added another M and said management as well. Why should we exclude management, right? So there are many programs, which whatever I said is from my organization, but I'm sure many organizations are coming up with some programs. It's all about reaching out with the ideas and ask corporate to partner, then asking them what do you.
Ma'am, I give
Anything
the
you want to add?
ownership. I'll just add this. The ownership is yours, not the corporates. Okay? I get student coming to me saying that we want internship. I said, done. I'll help you out. So I said, what's the duration? 4 weeks. Okay? 4 weeks. And what's the timing that you can work? I can only work from, say, 6 to 8 in the evening or 6 to 9 in the evening. Can you come physically and work? No, I can't do that. So you first have to, I'm just openly telling all the academic, folks who are here, solve that problem first. You all are not giving enough time to the students. If you all don't give them time, if you're not doing some kind of adjustments with the, attendance or whatever it is, no corporate is going to support. They say like by the time they come and learn, they're gone. They'll not even be able to learn anything from us. We can't even give them some projects. We can't even put them onto research work, and we really don't know how to do this. Okay, so just be a little bit careful that how exactly are you making it easy for the students to get internship opportunities. Hundreds and hundreds of opportunities are there. This, what you're talking about is hackathons. I'm very actively involved with many companies, Google, etc., in supporting the outreach for students to apply in remote. They have to form teams, they have to apply, and then they have to create some really good solutions and showcase their skills, their thinking, and if they're building an app or have they built a product, whatever. So opportunities are there, but for this specifically on internships that you're talking about and getting industry leaders to come and spending time with your institutes, sometimes I'm finding the institutes are creating the barriers. Very openly I'm saying this. I don't know what, sir, you have to say, but this is my very practical viewpoint. Make it easy for the students, then and change a little bit of the attitude and timing and everything. Everything will be solved, boss. But you can't ask them to give 4 weeks of your time, only 3 hours a day, and Saturday, Sunday, I got to get back to college because I have to complete projects. It won't work that way. Just think about that.
Yeah, Vijetha pointed out a very pertinent problem in terms of internships, and I think the support of education institutions are very, very important. But ma'am, to address your question head on, there are so many. I think my math might be incorrect, but I think there are 400,000 engineers coming out of India every year, right? There are only a handful of corporates. Trying to get anybody's attention is very hard, right? We're all fighting for attention. Trust me, I'm fighting for attention with my customers as well. That's why all the marketing dollars go. But as an institution, the biggest resource that you have is your alum network. You have a massive alum network. Tap into that, right? There are enough and more folks. Reach out to them, call them, have the students reach out to them. Frankly speaking, the institution push can be there, but the student, if he's innovative, he or she is innovative, their reach out can be excellent. Says, sir, ma'am, you're my senior, you passed out 10 years ago, you work at this company, I have a cutting edge solution that I want to work with, or this is my thought, right? You have to intrigue the person to get their attention, right? And that's, like I said, attention. We're all fighting for attention at the end of the day. So is Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, I think that's just one way. And like Sir said, I think it's very important that colleges and institutions allow students. I'll give you a case of why I said attention. About 3 months ago, I had a student reach out to me. The student's doing his BA final, right? Now, it's very uncommon for me to get a LinkedIn message from someone who's doing his BA, right? And I'm like, wait, I just saw the headline. The child had a very, very insightful take on a webinar that I spoke on, right? And he called me out on something, which I liked, which is great. And then he said he wants an internship. But his entire problem was he can only come 2 months, right? And the same thing like Sir said, that was smiling when he said, we actually had the head of HR sign a letter to be submitted to the principal to excuse him from classes after 1 o'clock. This is a real world problem, right? And the child wants to adopt a new line, but then he has classes, he has attendance, and which is fair, I think, because you never know who's not doing the right thing. A lot of people will abuse this as well, right? But the student had a real world problem. So this person used attention and then used the right means to find a way to secure the internship and work with us. And I'm confident that we'll definitely move into a full-time offer. But the alum network is something you should tap into. I think that's huge, right? And they're willing to help, right? Everybody wants to give back. I think the sense to give back. I mean, I know the initiatives that I work with my college, for example, or I know other folks what initiatives they work with. We all want to give back. It's a sense of belonging, right? That's what we all, like they say in the army, Naam, Nishan, and Namak, right? Which is the symbol that we are. That's our college is a part of us always, right? So yeah, that's one thing that you can leverage.
And ma'am, I will come down the stage after this, and we will talk. I will help you, okay? But then think about the policy and regulations that you all have to adopt. Because 2 months was good. People come for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and no one will take it up. That's where the problem is, no? And we have to figure it out. Because as he said, some people abuse it. They use this as an excuse to bunk classes, not do projects. We don't want that. In fact, we tell them also, whatever happens, do not lose focus on your academics, because that is what's going to be your building blocks. But can some adjustments be done? Can we help the student? And the student also should cooperate, because if they want to learn and they want to get, 3-4 hours of exposure every day, they have to figure out how to do it. So let's see how we can do it for you, ma'am. Don't worry. Okay? Cool.
Thank you so much.
Not to forget, the Government of India has got NAPS program, National Apprenticeship Skill Development kind of a program, NSSDC, LSSDC. So a lot of support is there. They've enforced our corporates to do. At any given point in time, I have 150 interns at any day, any given day. That's my minimum number to meet, right? So a lot of support is coming from the government as well. So I think we should leverage that and then see how we can encourage more students to get the benefit.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I would take one more question from us.
I'm CA Dr. Vishnu Bharat Alampalli. I'm the president of APS institutions. Can AI replace teaching? I mean, teaching profession. I'm told all over the globe is miserably failed. There is a requirement of human touch for the students, at least up to the level, maybe up to the college level. But what is the future? Because we are all educational institutions, we have to plan ahead. So that is one thing. So one of our students has designed a AI, this one, that what our vision is 180 degrees. He has designed for 360 degrees this one, and he has convinced DRDO and they have approved the project. So when such is the child, brains of the child is there, so how we can prevent it? I mean, we have to develop it and we have to advance it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My view, we'll hear the rest of their views, and yes, it can replace teaching. Because teaching is a job which can be replaced by, I'm sorry, I'm going to become unpopular, but let me tell the truth. Because doctors' professions are getting replaced by AI. AI can do surgery, then why cannot AI teach, right? In the sense robotic or any other form of artificial intelligence, because if the subject is same, curriculum is same, and AI can do a good job of delivering it, right? So a lot of webinars, if we see online teaching, professor comes and speaks, they record it and they replay it for the students who missed. It's as good as that. Once you program it and it can do, because curriculum is fixed. You're not changing curriculum every day. For 1 year, at least, it's same. So it can do a decent job in ensuring it can conduct tests, it can do exams, and can do all of it. But again, go back to what I said in the beginning. The mental wellness issue will increase so much so that you can sit at home. So future education is you can study from anywhere. Work from any, office, work from home, work from anywhere. Study from home, study from anywhere. You don't have to go to college. We don't need buildings. My visualization of future. I can sit anywhere and I need a laptop or a phone, device. If I have a device, I can study anywhere. But what will happen is, assume government agrees to this, we certify people. I'm saying 20 years, 30 years, 50 years later, we may not be there to see, but it can happen. But this human touch is very important, right? And that is where this attitude intelligence will go down. Like COVID time, we all saw, right? All worked from home, but there was a huge mental illness issue came up. And some of the countries where it shot up so heavily because people wanted, we are all human beings, we need that interaction. Peer learning goes down. It will become one-way learning, right? So in the classroom, what happens is you learn a lot, look at the student's life cycle. If it is only for education, if they're coming to class, no. The life education also happens. I see another person and build confidence. I become introvert, extrovert, learn a lot of things. I learn how to deal with people. I learn conflicts. Sometimes I get bullied, but still I want to come out of it. Then when I come out of it, I build confidence. I see somebody is doing better than me, I get competitive. All this, if I study from anywhere, it will not happen. So peer learning is superpower, and that is what keeps human being going. If we are not comparing with others, then we're all happy. Like in our office, corporate, it happens, right? I'm happy with my salary, my package. Every student is happy with the first package which they get. The minute they see their friends is getting more, that is when it hurts them, right? Individually, you are happy. The same thing happens in education as well. I'm happy with myself, but if I have competition, then it pushes me to think beyond who I am. So I'll take the first part of the question, but if you have the answer for the second part.
JP Morgan Chase's CEO, Jamie Dimon, I think last week he said the work week could get reduced to 3.5 days, right? What he means by that is not lesser jobs, more time available for us to do whatever we want to do so that the repetitive tasks are taken care of. Similarly, sir, that's a great question about whether teaching can be disrupted. It will be, absolutely will be. I like to take the analogy of a painter and an artist. Both are painting, right? The artist has skill, right? You can create AI using the content that's available through books so that that can be a coach that can create the base for the student to know the concept. But the application is where the teacher is required. Because what you do with that clay and how you mold it into something is what makes the difference, right? It's like, eating at a Michelin star restaurant as compared to eating down the street. The presentation is so different, right? And it's a very different experience at the end of the day. The skill, right? And that's what you have. The teachers are going to be responsible for application and creating skill and honing that skill so that that can be applied in the future, right? So a lot of the repetitive, more straightforward tasks will be taken care by AI. It can be a coach. You can use it to quiz you. You can, like ChatGPT has a voice function where it can actually teach you a particular concept. You can ask it questions. It can ask you questions back, right? That way you're getting better. But the application side, which is what is the industry, if you look at education versus the industry, it's concepts versus implementation, right? That is where teachers are going to take on the new role of honing that skill, being implementers, helping these folks, with projects or things that they have to apply to understand that concept better. That makes them more job ready. Today, the barrier to get an entry-level job, I remember when I was starting out, they would ask me, do you know C, C++? It's no more the same, right? In a couple of years, it's going to be, do you know AI, whatever the type of projects you're going to do, right? So with that thought, I'm going to leave it at that.
Sure. So let me tell the audience a few stories. So, sir, you said, no, the doctor, what is a doctor doing in this robotic surgeries or whatever? So I was on a panel moderating. So you're doing a great job, by the way. Dr. Rehan, who's the founder of Motherhood, and now he's one of the He works for Manipal now, and he is one of the topmost rated robotic surgeons in the country, if not the world. So one wonderful audience member asked him, "Hey boss, if the robot is doing all the surgery, what are you as a doctor doing?" So he didn't say anything for 2 seconds. He gave a very piercing and dirty look maybe to the person who asked and said, "Boss, the doctor does everything. The doctor does all the work, right? But the technology, the robot, and the intelligence, etc., helps the doctor do his job better, and and in whichever parameters, and the doctor doesn't get tired." And now this is a very important point. The doctor's energy levels, because of the support of the technology, is enhanced. But he still is the decision maker. He or she is still the decision maker. So just think about this, and I'll go to what you also said, right? The teacher doesn't have to do repetitive tasks. They can focus on the slow students. They can focus on the really bright students and give them even more tougher projects. And that's where artificial intelligence and technology and AR, VR, etc., will come into play. So no one is replacing the teacher. You're making the teacher, him or her, even more better to be able to help the student, who's ultimately the stakeholder, to do really well and also enhance the reputation of the college, the institute, and the course. So what's the difference between an IIT, or an IM, or a London School of Economics, or Harvard? Why does the student aspire to be there? Why does the academician want to do research work and projects over there? There are reasons. There is a logic. So the same way, sir, that technology has to be understood, respected, and utilized to help you in whatever you're trying to do. So we're not, at no point of time does anyone of us wants to lose our jobs, or you want to lose your job, or the student wants to be on the street saying that I've studied for 5 years, my parents invested in me, but I'm not getting a proper job, though I'm willing to work very hard. We don't want that societal issue. So it's better to understand and adapt technology very, very fast so that it is our servant. And we are the master, or the whatever you want to call it, right? I don't want to use a sexist term because technically it should not be about him or her, whatever, right? But that's what we should be thinking about, sir. And you are in a position of influence. So help your teachers also to retain their jobs and enhance the level of contribution that they can do for the student community. Does that make sense? Sure. Thank you.
Okay, we have short of time.
One question. One question.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you for exuberant panel. I have a question and a suggestion for the organizers. I'm a pro-teaching and pro-teacher guy. My question is simple. Impact of AI, if we look at data today, employability rate of engineering students is less than 10%. If we go on considering impact of AI, what would be the employability rate of future students? That's one question. And we might have heard, all of us have heard, Easter Islands. They went on building statues. Today, only statues are left, human beings are not there. Are we promoting that kind of intelligence, inducing an impact of that kind? That's my second question. And it's like similar to Falcon and Falconer. I'm skeptical about who's Falcon, who's Falconer, and that's my doubt. And a suggestion, I was expecting a request for all the organizers where we would have had one panelist from education, academia side. Things would have been more deliberative. And these are my questions. I'm Dr. Divakar from MS Rama Institute of Technology. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
I have no question.
Maybe the organizers thought to keep you at peace and listen, then speak, because all the time you're teaching, so probably that could be the reason why cognitive thought that way, because you need some time to listen, because you're all the time doing that job great. That's how we all been produced.
I will say one more thing. Why there's no woman on the panel?
Yeah?
They thought Vijetha, they thought I was a woman, but in truly...
Yeah. No, I'm gender fluid, so that way it gets solved. If you go to my LinkedIn, I say I identify as a human being. I don't identify as male or female. That's my identity. I'm openly saying that. Okay, going to your point, I don't think we are, neither I'm representing a technology company nor my product is that, but I'm a user of a technology. And I fondly speak about AI or a technology advancement because I've been benefited by that. And so I don't think we are creating a world where only robots are there, like the movies and all we see, right? So where human beings slowly vanish. I think it's the way Vijetha was saying, we are going to use the tool, and the tool is going to be slave for us, and we are not going to become a slave of the tool, for which the attitude intelligence is important. That's why I keep on repeating that. If we don't have an attitude intelligence, that AI, which I call it as attitude or original intelligence, OI, this will dominate us. We have seen in movies, right? It could become like robots take over and human beings become slaves. That won't happen if we continue to use that as a slave for us. What I mean by slave is that will help, that will serve us, and we are not going to serve the technology. So that mindset is important.
In terms of what the future holds, this might sound very utopian, but the average caveman worked less than 1,000 hours a year, right? I think I've spent like 4,000 hours the last year working, right? Which is a lot, or 3,000 odd, whatever, do the math, right? If you look at that, there's so much more time that I could have spent on doing other things, right? I think AI is going to help reduce our work days, right? And like the Easter Island example that you took, technology, of course, is going to be an aid. It's like computers. It's going to help us do things faster, better, right? I'm seeing a big shift in corporates adopting AI and saying that, hey, this is going to make us more efficient. That way our work weeks are going to become smaller. A 4-day work week is less than 10 years away, right? And that's going to happen. And that means we have more time that can be spent to do other things, to pursue other pursuits, right? To live like the Scandinavians live, right? To live a very happier life. In India, we all work very, very long hours, right? So I think AI is going to help in that. Coming to employability factor, employability is very low. I think 10% might be a far stretch also, right, in a great sense. When we look at a lot of students coming in from colleges, we're just looking out for attitude. Personally, we're just looking at attitude. We'll go put them through psychometric tests. We try and understand how they are. I was reading an article about how people in the US studied in Ivy Leagues or any of the top colleges are not getting jobs, right? Jobs are scarce. And that is where adopting skills like AI or learning how to apply it, thus makes you more marketable, right? And using that, then you can secure a job. That's the only way to do it, right? So if you're an engineer trying to graduate, it's a scary time, right? If you don't upskill, if you don't know more than what your degree has taught you, then it's very, very hard to do, try and get a good job, which can then, allow you to have a great career, right? On those thoughts. But that's a great, pertinent question. Thank you.
I think the best way to look at this is be part of the solution. We have a problem, let's accept it. It is not going to go away anytime. Maybe not even in our lifetime, not even maybe some of the senior leaders or this room, or whatever way we can contribute, whatever we can find out who are the people who are putting in a lot of effort on reskilling, upskilling, creating the, creator, job economy, whatever. Let's identify more of those people, and maybe we can help the gentleman to get going with those people and help them out, because we have to be part of the solution. We can keep, talking about the problem, pointless, waste of energy. Let's do what we can for the society together. That's all I think I would like to add. And whatever way we can be of value to you, sir, once I'm down from this dais, glad to help in what I'm in a position of privilege because I can influence and have a great network. So, and I tell everyone, telling the organizers, please leverage it. I'm happy to help out. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank all the panelists here. I think the session has been an eye-opener. Definitely, we talk about a lot of issues, concerns, and how to adapt this AI, and also not to lose our mental health, right? So everything put together, wonderful discussion. Also, I thank all the audience members asking the right questions and bringing the best out of it. Thanks you all once again.